I'm giving away this championship belt once I hit 100,000 subscribers, so go ahead and click subscribe today. Welcome back to the Ango Show. I, of course, am Ango. No time to waste. We're going to kick things off. LA Knight reportedly cleared from the virus. He's expected to be on SmackDown. BWE confirming PW Insider's report. Now Dave Meltzer also chiming in. Guys, there's some very interesting news surrounding LA Knight because there appears to be a very big push continuing for LA Knight. So much so that Roman Reigns versus LA Knight could potentially be the big singles match for the Undisputed Championship in Saudi Arabia on early November. Now, keep in mind, WWE has Fastlane on October 7th, which is next weekend. LA Knight is expected to team up with John Cena. We'll probably get some sort of build-up tonight on SmackDown. Then WWE will go on to Fastlane. Solo Sikoa, Jimmy Uso versus John Cena and LA Knight. And then this right here appears to be the way that they're going to set LA Knight and Roman Reigns up. Obviously, they've been teasing some stuff with Paul Heyman and LA Knight and Solo Sikoa. There's definitely a story brewing here. I just want to throw in my 2 cents really quick, and we'll move on to the next story. Okay? I love LA Knight. I love what they've done with LA Knight. But if you follow this channel on a consistent basis, you know one of the things I absolutely dislike is when people are booked in matches that I feel like are kind of like lose-lose, right? I don't know if LA Knight suffers by losing to Roman Reigns for the Undisputed Championship. I don't know. We will see how that match goes down. We know this guy has a lot of love from the fans. But is this one of those matches where if he loses, people no longer see him as a credible star? That is my concern. And I think sometimes you can look good in losses. We saw this before when LA Knight was in the Pitch Black match. He ended up actually coming back even 10,000 times stronger after that. But it doesn't always apply. It doesn't always become the thing with guys. So this is going to be interesting to pay attention to. I don't know if WWE really, I mean, actually, I would say, unfortunately, WWE probably has zero chance of giving him the belt over Roman Reigns. But I feel like the build is going to be great, and I would love to see more Paul Heyman and LA Knight and Roman Reigns. I want to see them on the mic. I want to see them do things. Pay attention to this. This is a big deal. Guys, WWE reportedly announced Deadline is coming back. This is taking place in December. Remember how I told you WWE is not going to have pay-per-views in December? Well, that appears to be the case for the main roster because NXT is going back on the road. This time they're going to Connecticut. They're going to be doing their Deadline pay-per-view. It sounds like they're going to be bringing back the Iron Survivor match based on the poster right here that you see. Coincidentally or interestingly enough, Tiffany Stratton is on the cover, not Becky Lynch. So maybe that's a spoiler for No Mercy. I don't know. But you got Ilya Dragunov, Dragon Lee, Lyra Valkyria, Carmelo Hayes, Tiffany Stratton, all on the poster. I personally was one of those guys. I was kind of on the fence last year when they did NXT Deadline. They did the Iron Survivor stuff. I actually loved it a lot. I like when they experiment. Shawn Michaels talked about experimenting on a media call last year. And it was just so important to see WWE do that because it actually ended up being a really cool thing for the product. Me personally, as a fan of NXT, I truly love NXT. I actually enjoy NXT a lot more than I think most people even realize. To see Deadline coming back is a good thing. To see that they're going on the road again is a good thing. I would like to see WWE move away from using the Performance Center for NXT. I'm sure it saves them a lot of money, which is probably a reason why they do it. But if they want to go to a studio, I would totally be okay with that. But I just feel like the Performance Center kind of, not that WWE doesn't pull it off, because they definitely do. I just feel like it could be a lot better if they were to go on the road. And I'm not talking about them doing crazy stadiums or like, you know, big arenas that are 10, 15,000 seats. But NXT should probably get away from the Performance Center. The fact that Deadline will be taking place in Connecticut is always a good thing. It's taking place in Bridgeport, Connecticut at the Total Mortgage Arena. That's going to be December 9th. I would like to see in 2024 NXT move away from the Performance Center. It could be different studios that they go to. Just want them away from the Performance Center. I think it could be a good thing for them. Guys, AEW making last-minute changes to the script, and of course, the internet is up in arms. You tend to see a lot of hypocrisy here, but I just want to remind people, we are not supposed to be privy to the behind-the-scenes scripting of pro wrestling. We're not supposed to be. That's not the way it's designed. That's not the way that we should be judging a television show. I've said this before. I think a lot more people are basing a lot of their opinions based on backstage stuff than what you actually see. And what you see is what you get. Tony Khan made a last-minute decision for Nick Jackson to compete in the triple threat match for the number one contendership for the International Championship. Now we know that Nick Jackson will be taking on Rey Fenix in the near future. Dave Meltzer was saying that this was last minute. He wasn't even reportedly expected to wrestle. He wasn't expecting to wrestle at all. He had to scramble, get his gear, and he came up with some ring gear with the help of other people from AEW. And yeah, there was like this whole thing where they put him in last minute and they made this decision. The internet is being really funny about this. Again, I'm going to say this a million times. We're not supposed to be privy to these script changes, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm guilty of this. We saw Raw after WrestleMania. Vince McMahon butchered the entire show, but that was just so out of left field. And I think the only way we could really be mad about these reported last-minute changes on the script, because it's not the first time AEW has done it before either, by the way. But I feel like the only way we could really be upset about it is if we know what's supposed to take place, we know exactly how it's changed, and then the result was absolutely terrible, right? It's like them giving you like teasing or announcing something really massive only for them to give you something really shitty, and then the execution was really bad. Okay, I think that's fair to be somewhat upset. But again, we're not supposed to be privy to this information, and because we're not supposed to be privy to this information, we technically don't know what script or what they're doing or what they're planning, so we should be just judging the shows. And I know it's a little bit harder, and that's why I said what I said, but it's not that big of a deal. I actually think Nick Jackson and Rey Fenix is going to be great, by the way, just because they have a lot of chemistry, so that's going to be fun. And anytime the Young Bucks get to kind of do some singles matches here and there, I think it's always fun. Guys, Impact Wrestling, PCO coming out and talking about some very interesting stuff. He was on the Pat LaPrade's podcast. He says, already there were names mentioned by people close to the office. The names that were circulating were Matt Riddle, Dolph Ziggler, and Mustafa Ali. These are three names that supposedly Impact would try to sign. This is awesome news. I'm a huge fan of Impact. Obviously, I talk about Impact all the time. PCO may not even be with Impact going forward because right now there's a lot of people who could potentially be leaving Impact. And I think Impact, if they're smart, you kind of take a look at who can genuinely come into the company. You know, you got to look at your roster, make some adjustments. You got to be a smart business, right? I feel like Impact has been very smart with their business. I think they've been very careful with who they bring in, how long they bring them in. Plus, we know that Impact is going to be heavily investing into higher production. There's talks of bigger arenas and stuff like that. There's talks of big plans, and it's obviously not going to happen overnight. But these are three names that would fit Impact very well. Matt Riddle, Mustafa Ali, Dolph Ziggler. I think all three of these guys could be really great in Impact. And I just want to throw this out there because I love Impact and I love NXT so much. There's something about Impact and their X Division. And there's something about Mustafa Ali when he was in the 205 Live show. And I think there's some synergies there. So the best overall fit for Impact would be Mustafa Ali because, first of all, we know the creative type of stuff that he wants to do. It would work very well in Impact based on how they produce and how they engineer characters and stuff. But I'm just thinking of matchups in general. Mustafa Ali, Rich Swann. You also have Chris Sabin, Kushida. You also have Alex Shelley. You also have Speedball Mike Bailey, Gresham. I mean, look, the list goes on and on. There is a plethora of talent I would love to see Mustafa Ali go in there with. Matt Riddle would be another good guy to join Impact, but also at the same time, too, we know about the risk that Matt Riddle possesses. I would rather see him get his personal life straightened out. And Dolph Ziggler is absolutely awesome. I love the guy. If he were to go to Impact, they can make him a world champion if they want, and there would be nothing against that. But I just look at overall fit. I think all three of these guys would fit well. But if I'm picking one of the three, I'm picking Mustafa Ali just because I think there is a little bit higher upside. But other than that, let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think Impact will sign these guys? I want to know what you think down below.